Good morning, guys. It's Chris from the daxtrader.co.uk. It's Wednesday, the 6th of February. This is the Dax Technical Analysis, and the trading disclaimer applies. Please read that in the description before you proceed with the video. Okay, in front of us here, we've got the Dax Trader Strategy, DTI. You can get this for a trial from the website if you've got Sierra charts. And there is a MetaTrader version available as well for members. And the strategy yesterday would have done incredibly well. And you'll notice in the first session in the morning, there was a sell signal, quickly followed by a buy. So that sell would obviously have not worked out, but the buy would have done very, very well. Perhaps would have been stopped out just over here. The second buy signal would have given you a lot more points, and it just continued to be the same way all throughout. The grey section in the middle is the break. I don't tend to trade the strategy during that time. But there was another opportunity to get in from the afternoon session. So it was a pretty clear day for the strategy to use. Now, as to whether or not you would have taken all of the signals, it's difficult to know because it did rally quite a lot yesterday. Maybe you would have been put off of buying into another one. So maybe the afternoon session you wouldn't have capitalized on, but the morning session you certainly would have done. So incredibly good. Now, I was at the hospital yesterday. Nothing serious, nothing for me. Serious anyway, and so I missed all of the opportunity to trade that strategy. So yeah, bit of a shame to see it rally without me, but you know, what can you do? That's one of those things. All right, so let's go and have a look at the normal charts. On the daily chart here, you can see buyer range extension. We've broken out through that top of 324 there, closed above the top of 324 there as well. Clearly got out of this 6-day range that we've seen here from these candle bodies, and didn't quite get to take out the upper median line parallel of this downsloping fork, but the trends continues, and so now we've got a confirmed higher low there, and we'll see whether or not we get a retracement back here today, perhaps even to test this little area in here, somewhere in that zone. You'd perhaps expect to see a turnaround and then a continuation on. Or is it just this an opportunity to pretty much just grab as many sellers in as possible? Because, you know, if somebody's lining up a large short, they're going to need some buying liquidity. So perhaps this is just advertising to some traders to get in so you can provide the liquidity for the big sellers. We will find out. But for now, the facts remain. The series of higher highs and higher lows continues, and the trend remains intact. Excuse me. Now, this was an interesting chart here, and I'm just going to actually go back and show this without the fork so we can see how it played out. So when it got to this stage here, what we were half expecting to see is a continuation of the trend. So you had this high, you've got a low that started to form here. That low became confirmed once you had this here. And you started to see this trajectory of lows here that was maybe pointing to a potential center or a multi-pivot line that was kind of coming through here like that. It's not the best idea because yeah, it's difficult to see where it's going to go. But when you consider this little point here as being action, you can start drawing up what would be an action center reaction line set, something like that maybe. I don't know, go through there. And you'd say, right, well, if we do break through this line and we actually find a bit of a retracement here, then perhaps we could see a pullback to this reaction line. And after this, you kind of got to this point here and you were thinking, okay, maybe this idea isn't going to work. So you've got two options here. Either A, this goes out to take this 324 high out and it just kind of ignores this action center reaction line set. Or this is a complete rejection of higher prices, and therefore it will go out and take on the reaction line. And that was pretty much what happened. Now, I don't recall whether it actually hit the reaction line. I don't think it did on this example. But if you turn that action center reaction line set into a pitchfork using these as pivots, it would be assuming that would have been our confirmed higher low, so it's perhaps a little bit early to do that. In fact, I think it's definitely too early to do that because it's not confirmed at all. So I'll just keep it on there for the moment. You see there was a closer tag, or very, very close to being a tag down here on that action center reaction line set. So it's from here that perhaps you would start to look at this as a fork for a couple of reasons. One, this low here has been tested and it looks like it's been rejected. So that would then suggest that price action is now going to look to take on this high again. And if it manages to break that, then it's more than likely going to take out this, which would confirm this as your higher low. So if you anticipated it early, there's a saying, I think it's something called fishing for C, which is the C point of your fork. And I'll explain that in a second. Let's just snap this all to the grid. There we go. So with the fork, you've got three pivots. You've got A, B, and C. So your A line is your first line that you can see through here. And the A line cuts through the B and the C pivots. And the A line wants a couple of touches, really. The more touches, the better it would be, acting as a multi-pivot line. And it seems to be supportive. It's a decent A line. The BC line is pretty good too. And you'll notice down here that you've got this tag on the lower median line parallel in this example. And that can often provide a nice opportunity to get into a trade. In this case, something around the 2 to 1 level. And there you go. And when price reacts off of a lower median line parallel in this example in an upsloping fork, and it holds this confirmed higher low, well, it's confirmed once it breaks that level, then it's often going to reach the median line, and that could act as a potential reversal point in the short term at least, or a turnaround spot where price looks to sell off. So we'll see whether or not we get that today, and if it does, how far down will it likely to go? Well, I mean, the 324 is an obvious target level. It's not that far from where we are now. We're pretty much there already. There it is, 324. So we've hit that level now. If it digs a bit deeper into that zone, then I'd like to see it perhaps get somewhere down to this previous rejection point, which would be in between the 270 to 300 zone, and maybe look for a turnaround in there. If it digs much deeper than that, well, you've got this low volume area down here that it's probably going to want to have a go at. So we'll see whether it manages to dig into that or not. But the higher probability area is this shaded zone, I think. All right, let's look at the profile and the levels for today. So the profile is this. We're inside the value area from yesterday. There is a higher volume area down here, the value area low at 296. And that zone could act as support. If it breaks through that, then you've got this little zone here. Beyond that, not that much to catch it all the way down to the low of yesterday. The point of control is up here at 378. So it hasn't actually attempted to take that out today. It's just been pretty much consolidating, digesting the gain from yesterday. So I'd like to see whether or not that value area low will be able to hold. Okay, so that's a couple of ideas for today, and we'll see whether or not we manage to get much of a retracement from it. If it continues moving higher, which it certainly looks like it wants to at the moment, once it's found some more buyers, then 395 is an obvious target, as is 460 on CFD, as they are previously exposed points of control from other days towards the beginning of the year and end of last year. And that's it, guys. So I hope you have a good trading day, and we'll be back again tomorrow with another one. But until then, take care.